Pseudoregalia is one of those games that I could easily recommend that everyone get their hands on. But at the same time, I can see why some players were completely turned off by it. I first heard about this game after a few people mentioned it on TikTok. The main things they would say are that it's a metroidvania mixed with a platformer like Mario 64 and that the main character is a goat woman with thick ass thighs.
I like you, and I want you.
And at that point, I had heard enough and knew that I had to try this out for myself. The main character is Sybil, a goat woman trapped inside of a mysterious castle. This place is filled with different areas like a theater, a dungeon, and whatever the fuck this is. Sybil works her way through each of these places, solving puzzles and unlocking a ton of cool abilities. The story doesn't make a lot of sense right away, but as you come across the other GOAT NPCs and signs, you'll slowly learn that you need to rescue a princess. I know, we've never had to do that before in any other video game. So 10 out of 10 for a totally new concept that nobody has ever done before. But anyway, you don't need to play this for the story. There's so much more here that makes the shallow plot feel even less necessary the more you play it. But like I said before, when you dig even deeper into the gameplay, that is where people either start to fall in love or they get annoyed. Trust me, I had both of those feelings and I think there's a lot to be said about it. The first version of Pseudoregalia was actually part of a Metroidvania game jam back in March 2023. So the developers had about 3 weeks to create this game from the ground up. That original version ended up winning first place in the game jam and later got released for free on itch.io. Only a few months later, in July 2023, the full version was released on Steam, which is where plenty of fans got their hands on it for the first time. So in total, we're looking at about 4 or 5 months of development for this entire game. So you can see why the story was so bare bones, and I'm not mad about that at all. Ever since then, there's been a major update that adds a new map, but nothing much more came from this outside of that. Despite the lack of updates, this is currently sitting on Steam with over 9,000 reviews and an overwhelmingly positive review score. So how in the hell can a $6 game with so many positive reviews still get hated on? To understand that, we gotta look a little bit deeper at how the mechanics work. Despite this being a Metroidvania, the big focus here stays with the complexity of the movement. When you start off, all you have is the power to jump and do some very simple platforming. Then you get access to a weapon called the Dream Breaker that you can bonk enemies with and also be able to heal yourself using a magic gauge. You later get a power up that makes your range and strength higher when you have more magic in the gauge. And things don't get too wild until you get things like a slide and a wall jump. There's not too much to explain about those two, but it's just one more layer of the gameplay. Eventually you get the power to jump while sliding so you can cross wide gaps. But wait, you can also do a plunge move that lets you jump even higher. And don't forget that you can later charge your attacks to destroy powerful walls and even shoot out a projectile. You think that's all? Well, almost. You also get a wall run plus this one move that lets you bounce off of certain enemies and objects. And I would say that that's everything, but I'm pretty sure there's at least 10 other things that I missed along the way that are a little more minor. So all of that sounds like a lot, but it's only important when you figure out how to put it all together. It's not easy to explain how good this platforming feels, especially in these weirdly designed levels, but it seriously feels great. Because it's a Metroidvania, you'll have to go back through certain areas a few times, and when you do go back, you'll feel like it's a whole new world. An obstacle that would have been tricky to jump across just an hour ago turns into something you slide, jump, and wall run through without a second thought. I even think the sharp N64 style polygons in these levels make it feel better to play through. It gives a heavy amount of Mario 64 vibes, but it brings so much into that modern age with more speed and better controls. These devs did a fantastic job of making this entire thing fun to play. But like we talked about before, it's not a perfect experience for everybody. The problem Pseudoregalia has is something that a lot of fans have been vocal about. Despite it having some really good movement and platforming, the levels can get extremely confusing to navigate. And you might think to yourself, well duh, it's a Metroidvania, that makes sense.
There's a cow farm. You're gonna find cows outside.
But nah, even those games understand that gamers need one important thing to make sense of where they are and where they've been. Before March of this year, there was absolutely no in-game map, which made players frustrated and of course left some negative reviews. I played the version that did have the in-game map, and even I was getting lost before I made it halfway through. But I will be real though, I kinda skipped the part where you get the map, and I didn't get it until the last hour or two. But even with the map, you can screw yourself over just because the mechanics are really good. Yeah, I know, that probably doesn't sound like it makes sense, but trust me, I didn't get it at first either. So there's this one area where you have to go around this hallway and make it to the top of the other side. I saw there were these bubbles you can jump into and jump out of, and I swore I needed to figure out how to wall jump my way through this hallway. And spoiler alert, that was not the answer. But I didn't know where to go, and I didn't feel like backtracking through all the stuff I've already been through. So instead, I went to the very end of the hallway and just kept trying to do wall jumps and see what would happen. And look at that, after a few minutes, I made it to the top. Later on, I realized I needed the wall run, which made a ton of sense looking back at it. But the problem here can be seen in two ways. First off, it sucks not knowing where to go, but still having the power to go anywhere because the movement is just that good. On the other hand, I've been seeing people praise this because there's more than one way to tackle each section. In my experience, it was definitely frustrating not knowing where I was or what to do next. Eventually I did figure things out, but it's clear that this is the one place where people get annoyed the most. But I gotta say that for a game that only costs $6 and could easily be beaten within a day, I won't even be mad about my time with it. I'd even go back just to see if I can take on some of those places I got stuck before and maybe finish the whole thing without needing some techniques. Okay, wait, maybe I'm not gonna go that far, but let me know your thoughts on Pseudoregalia in the comments. Did you love it, did you hate it, or if you didn't play it yet, tell us if it's worth your $6. Subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I'll see you all in the next video.